I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 to the 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, flying rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time.
Yo, hello everybody. We're not sad anymore. We're happy because we're still gonna get into that Champions League. Pete, how are you? Last time I was talking to you, you nearly got ran down with that Arsenal team bus.
Yeah, you know what? I was very, very close. Whether it was the Arsenal team bus or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a close one. I was too busy chatting away to you, not realizing I was right in the middle of a road. But managed to survive it. And like you said, Daz, we're happy again. It's gone. Sunday's gone. We know what we need to do, and let's discuss it. This is why we're here.
Exactly. We're here. Yeah, we're here to talk about a few things. Well, first of all, I see my connection is getting poor again. I don't know. It was perfect right before, but anyway, look, it'll carry on. Hopefully, it'll fix itself as it's going along. I've got the Pete Graves' broadband connection, I think. But yeah, look, yeah, we're here to talk about it. Get your questions in the chat because we're going to have a bit of Q&A as well. But we said we'd do another run-in show, and Chris will be along as well in any minute now. He's about to join. He's checking out that headboard in his hotel room. We're all eagerly waiting to see what it's going to be this week. But you know, we said we'd come back and we'd talk about our running. Maybe we'll start there. But actually, how are you first, Pete? Apart from that,
Yeah, not too bad at all. Busy. Yeah, it's deadline day at work, so we're just non-stop this week. But look, it is what it is. It's always at this point in the year. And yeah, it's we were just talking before. We just talking about what a mad 24 hours of football it's been, and not involving us. It's been great.
For once.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But no, other than that, I'm okay, mate. What about you? How are you?
Yeah, all good. Busy day at work, but yeah, I know you guys had the Monday off of the bank holiday, but no, day 2 of the week over for me, on to day 3. But I'm looking forward to this and having a bit of a chat about the running. So look, we'll bring it up, and what I'm going to do is show you this first. Now, this is where we started off in the first part 1. We started talking about where our estimations were. We said that we thought Newcastle would get 72 points. We had predicted had it all right up until that Arsenal game, actually, because we predicted a draw at Arsenal, and this is what we had done for at that particular time for the Newcastle's remaining games. But we fast forwarded a bit. We removed a few teams. This is how we kind of played out a bit. And it's still difficult to see that, I know. And there's a few out of the race now that when we're talking about. So this is what I want to focus on. So this is a bit clearer for everybody watching at home. So this is where we are, and these are the games that are left. So for Newcastle, we're sitting on 65 points. We're third in the league. We have 4 games remaining: Leeds, Brighton, Leicester, and Chelsea. Man United on 63 points. They're 4 games left as well. Liverpool 62 points and have 3 games left. And Brighton are sitting on 55 points and they have 5 games left. So Anthony, you want to talk about it first here, because what I want to do is I want to run through, and we probably need Chris as well, so we might give him another 2 minutes, but just to kind of go through each of these games, and I want to get a total then. So let's say, for example, if Newcastle were to get 12 points, if we estimated Newcastle were to win all their games, we put that in there. Bang, our total would be 77, and I want to calculate where we think each of the teams will finish. So we can get Chris's opinion as he joins, but let's go to Leeds first. What are you thinking? And this game, 12:30 kickoff next Saturday away from home.
I genuinely can't say anything other than a win. And whether people might think I'm being biased with that or not, I don't. That's up for debate and discussion. But for me, I can't. I didn't see anything different from Leeds that suggests to me that they're gonna do anything special on Saturday. Look, the fans will be up for it. They always are. They were up for it last season. We still won with a far weaker side. And I'm confident that we're going there with the players that we've got and the way in which we played, albeit, we didn't win the game on Sunday and there was things that we picked out that could have been better. But that performance, if we put that performance on Sunday at Ellen Road, we get 3 points. And I'm confident of that. So yeah, I can't say anything other than a win, if I'm honest. Well, what about you, Des? What are you thinking now? We've had a bit of time. Are you the same?
I also thought this one was going to be a win. Whereas the Arsenal game, I predicted a draw. I wasn't as confident. I know. I think you yourself and Chris are probably more confident than me in the Arsenal game, but because we lost, so the draw wasn't right either. But for this one, I think Leeds are under pressure. I know Big Sam is in there. They will try and keep it tighter, but I think we're going to hit them. And once we score, they have to come out and go for it then. And if I flick up there where they are table, look, they're in 19th position. Play 35 and 30 points. They need and their upcoming games are us, West Ham, and Spurs. So they can't sit back. They have to go for it. So they playing for a draw is no good for them. So that's why I think we're going to win.
Honestly, you're absolutely spot on, and this is why this is part of the reason why I think that it almost kind of plays into our hands, because you're right. They haven't brought Sam Allardyce in, although he is that type of manager. They haven't brought him in to be defensive and just play and take a point. They've brought Sam Allardyce in because they want results now, and he's proven over the years, apart from West Brom, that he can get results in tight situations. And for me, I'm of the mindset that they're going to come out, they're going to come at us, but we are so lightning and like we can create so many problems on the break. Like even against Arsenal are a well-oiled machine, and we on the break at times destroyed them, albeit apart from the final finish. We had some good moments, but we're not playing against Arsenal on Saturday. We're playing against the team, like you've just absolutely spot on, Daz. You're playing against a team 19th in the league that are conceding goals for fun. That I think the most goals conceded in the Premier League or something like that, very close to it. Like they've had to change their first choice goalkeeper to try and make amends. I looked at their defensive line the other day. I don't know any of the players. I'm going to speak to Joe about that when we do away days, because I don't know. I genuinely didn't know any of those guys that are playing. Like, but look,
the keeper, you keeper and everything that they're
yeah, I think I'm not sure if he used to be at Everton. Oh. Someone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Joel Robles? He played. He did okay at the Etihad, but I'm sure he was at Everton, and I'm not sure that might be a reason why, because obviously Big Sam was at Everton. Whether he was there at the same time, which is why he's brought him in. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that was
I can't even remember Big Sam at Everton. He's been so many places. I don't even remember that.
Well, he was the guy that started off all the big spending. He brought in like Walcott and players like that. Well, to be fair, I think it was Ronald Koeman before that started the big spending, but he carried it on with the likes of Walcott and one or two others. He spent a bit of money at Everton. But I'll put it in the chat. Do you think I'm being overconfident by saying that we're going to kind of wipe the floor. Even both of us, me and Daz, both said we think we're going to beat Leeds. Is anyone out there that thinks it could be difficult or more difficult?
Play along at home. That's what we're here for as well. Because because I did see in at least one video today, Newcastle YouTube video, and there was like a given that it was going to be a draw. And I was like, huh? Hang on, what am I missing here? No, a win is and even if you look at the bookies odds, we're down odds on favourite to win the game. And people in the chat have your say. Well, let's move on. Let's go to the Brighton game. A home here. Look at Brighton were taken apart by Everton last night, which was actually very funny. But Brighton, there are just so many games. They're going to get pounded between. Look, they have Arsenal next. Then they're going to. Then they have us. Have to come to us. It's a difficult game. It's always an unusual game with us and Brighton. But I think I could see us winning this one as well.
You know what? Anything's possible. Like, I genuinely, and I don't know about you, I genuinely thought this could be a difficult game, a really difficult game. Brighton are a very good technical team. But then I watched what I watched yesterday, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what people think is logical in that this could be the toughest game out of the three, potentially could be the easiest if they're going to ship goals like that. I was just, I was stunned. I was stunned at it. And we're at home. Honestly, Daz, I'll be honest with you. If we go and get the win at Leeds, I genuinely believe we're going to go and win at Brighton. Because that, for me, with the fans on a Thursday night under the lights, massive game on Sky, we could almost kind of like solidify Champions League that night.
Yeah.
And that there's no more motivation needed than that. It would just be class. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I think for now I'm going to turn the green. But if we end up with 4 wins here, Pete, I'm tempted to turn one of them to a draw, just because something's going to happen, and let's try and be even more realistic. But I think it's going to be a win as well. But it's one I have a bit of question. Actually, you know what? Let's bring in another opinion here, and as we see, what kind of headboard is he rocking tonight?
It's off me. There you go.
Oh, fancy, Chris.
Yeah, fancy one. It's a nice one.
Flip it out.
How are we, boys?
Your job is looking after you too well, man.
I know. I must admit, I am fortunate. I know I'm fortunate. I really enjoy my job, and I'm very lucky. I get to travel a lot with it as well. So,
cool. And if they're watching, make sure you clip that. It comes to those pay rises. Right, Chris. We've kind of scooted ahead, and just see, do you have any difference of opinion here for the Leeds game? What are you having? Win, lose, or draw?
I think it's got to be a win. It's got to be a win. I think it'll put a lot of put a lot of worries to bed. So I think we'll go to Leeds, and I think we'll get the 3 points. I know there's a lot of furore around Big Sam, and they didn't do too badly against City. They pulled one back, and everything was a little bit shaky. But yeah, no, I think we beat Leeds. I think we beat Leeds.
That's a 3 from 3. Brighton, we've 2 from 3 on the Brighton so far. But what are you thinking on Brighton after you would have been watching this one closely yesterday in your household?
I'll tell you what, if Eddie and the lads haven't watched that game in great detail, which I have no doubt they will, Brighton were there for the taking the other night. Everton and Sean Dyche got their game plan spot on, because all that Everton did was they got at them straight away, and then Brighton had to then open out, and Everton just sat back and just got them on the counter. A little bit of pace, and this is Dwight McNeil we're talking about. You know what I mean? Not Alexander Isak or Alan St. Maximin or Anthony Gordon, or we should be able to tear them apart based on the other night. Although I don't expect them to be that bad again. But yeah, if we've got the win against Leeds, I feel very confident that we then take that form into the home game against Brighton. And I think by then as well, boys, let's not forget, Brighton will have faced Arsenal away, and I don't think they'll have picked any points up from that one, because I think Arsenal are going to be doing the very best, aren't they, to stay in the title race. So no, I think we'll pick up 3 points there as well.
Cool. You know what? We can cut ahead and say for now I'll just mark this as a defeat for Brighton. But we'll come back to it as we move around to it. Let's go to Leicester.
Guys, one second, just before you go on. Massive thanks to Tampa Toon. He's back.
Cheers, Tampa Toon.
Massive thanks for $10 donation to the channel. They put, gentlemen, is there a loaded email address? There is, boys. I don't know if you want to take that away, more than willing from to DM us.
I'd say so.
There is an email address, but we don't really use it. DM us and we can check it if you want to send us something, Tampa Toon, something you want to make us aware of. But DM is probably the best on Twitter, but maybe you're not on Twitter. So we'll figure something else out.
I was going to say let us know, and then if not, we can throw the email out before the show's end, so they can get involved. But that just reminds everybody, the super chats are open. You want to put a question out that you want fired right into the front as priority. Do that now, and we'll get those questions fired up. Sorry, Daz, to interrupt.
No hassle at all. We'll plow through this. Leicester, we're home to Leicester on the 22nd of May. It's a win for me here.
You don't even have to ask me the question because you know the answer to that. And funny you should mention that, because me and Daz were just talking before we went live, and I was with Lee yesterday. I went to see him. I've not seen him for a while, and I was about to say his little boy. He's not little. He's an absolute giant. His boy. We were sitting there watching the Leicester game, and obviously his boy's a Leicester fan, season ticket holder, or was a season ticket holder until a couple of years ago. And he's moved now, so he can't get to games. But he was watching the game, and he was so desperate for them to win, and the goals were flying in, and I couldn't help but just every time Harvey Barnes got the ball, I kept and did something on the ball, I was like, yeah, I could see him doing that in Newcastle's colours next year, and he did well there. Imagine him doing that with Callum Wilson next year, and he was getting wound up. By the third goal, when the third goal went in, he was like, I'm done. He went to his room, he was out there, he'd finished, he was properly wound up. He came running back for the penalty. Me and he were like, it's a penalty. Then Vardy missed, and then he went back again. Boys, honestly, I have to say, some of their defending was comical at times. It was comical, and we know they're a good attacking team at times, and they scored 3 goals, and fair play to them. But you got to expect Newcastle to put ball in the back of the net more than once against Leicester with that defense. Jesus Christ, man, it was bad. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that game at all. I watched the other 2 games after that, but I didn't see the Leicester. I was watching the scores coming in, right, and I was like, what is going on? But Chris, what's your thoughts on Leicester?
Funny story about that Leicester game, actually. I went to the pub with my brother-in-law, and with the full intention of watching the Leicester Fulham game. And when we got there, it wasn't on, and we were like, oh. And then when we checked, the Brighton game was on and the Forest game was on, for like later on in the day. So we ended up watching, because we were there, we thought we may as well just stay. We ended up watching the Millwall Blackburn game. I tell you what, it was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game. I think that one finished 4-3. Blackburn won 4-3.
Yes.
And it meant that Sunderland finished in the playoff positions. When Millwall were 3-1 up, all they needed to do was win the game. So in the end, we actually watched a good game of footy. But that Leicester game, it's crazy, because you look as Pete said, then you look at the Leicester team and you think, how are they there? Like how have they ended up there? And what makes the Leicester game even more tasty is that, saying that, no, Leicester, no, I'm just thinking, Maddison's banned for 2 games, isn't he? But he'll be back for our game. Oh well, no, he won't. No, he won't. No, he won't. He won't. Yeah, he got a yellow. So I heard he's missing the next 2 games.
Oh, that's the first I heard of that.
He's had 10 yellows. Yeah, apparently that was his 10th yellow, and somebody said, "Oh, he's out for the next 2 games." So yeah, no, I'm looking at our fixtures. Yeah, Leicester's next 2 games. There's no Madison.
No, it's
I
Liverpool.
thought
I know.
after the 33rd or 32nd game. After that, it doesn't count.
Somebody said he was missing the next 2 games. Somebody said it because we were going, "Oh bloody hell, that's not very good." Yeah, I forget who said it, but somebody announced it.
That's massive if he's missing. Bloody hell, that's massive.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. Obviously,
someone in the chat will confirm it, no doubt. Foxy in the chat, Foxy will know the score.
Yeah, someone can confirm that. Be great.
Just to add to what you said, Carl put, I think we will basically relegate Leeds and Leicester, as well as ending Brighton's top 4 chances. There is a genuine chance that those 3 things could happen. Yeah. Certainly the relegating Leicester one. That'll be they could be relegated before the last game of the season. I mean, look, I'm not one to be happy about someone else's misery.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to spend a lot of time sending a lot of messages after that game if that is the case. But yeah, Carl, you're absolutely right, it is possible. And Lisa put, and the only thing I'm confident about is every time we've lost recently, the next game we come out and smash
exactly,
it.
Lisa.
Going back to that Leeds game that we've all said that we think they were going to win, Lisa, I think you made a spot on point there for sure. So again, another thing to keep an eye out for.
And do you know what? Yep. Do you know what else is nice about that? From what Lisa said, really good. We've seen, obviously, we saw how we bounced back against the, on the back of the 3-1 3-0 Villa defeat, but there was lots of positives to take from the game at the weekend. Yes, Arsenal deserved to win, and yes, we could have, certain players could have played better, and obviously, we may have got the result we needed because we've just lacked that clinical quality. But there's plenty of extras to take from extra positives, if you like, from the game. So really, I do fully expect us to bounce back against Leeds. Yeah, so that's even more reason to be positive.
Definitely. Fox is confirmed. Robles was at Everton for 5 years. I thought he was at Everton, which is why Big Sam put him in ahead of Meslier. So yeah, he's probably likely after his performance to start again, which I think kind of maybe goes in our favour, but some people might think differently. Confirmed there by Rich as well. The questions are piling in, by the way.
That's good. That's a good thing. Because it is a Q&A show as well. Definitely. So let's keep going here, and let's go to. I think we all said that we beat Leicester there in the end, but we'll move on to the Chelsea game. I'm going to say that at this stage, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter because we'll have got 3 wins. And I think last game of the season, I think we might even would consider even resting Bruno. So in this one, I'm going to say a draw. And we most definitely can win it, but I'm going to say a draw for this one.
What do you think, Chris?
It's a difficult one. I agree with what Daz is saying. It could all be wrapped up by them. Hopefully it is. The only thing I suppose that may keep our foot dipped in the water, so to speak, is that maybe we might be battling for whether we finish 3rd or 4th. If that's the case, I think we'll go full string. If not, then as Daz says, I don't know. Let's say we're comfortably 3rd and we're not moving. It could be that we rest a few players and give a few lads a run out. So it will be dependent on that. But I think if we're playing safe, I'd say probably a draw. And plus, I know I've been saying this to my mates nearly every week for the past 6, 7, 8 weeks. But Chelsea, Sutton's got to click with Chelsea soon, surely. Because every time you see the starting 11, you think, Jesus Christ, what a good team. So Sutton's got to click eventually. And knowing our luck, it'll probably be against us. Tell you what, the Chelsea players, that's the least they can do for the fans this season. Put a performance on for the last home game of the season.
Yeah, so it's a fair point. But what I will say, to be fair, I'm going for a draw as well. I think we'll probably take a point on the last day. But what I will say is that we owe them one after last season. with the situation with Dan Burn, with the blatant red card that should have been with Havertz when he elbowed him in the head. You had the blatant penalty that wasn't given for with Murphy. And then the sucker punch, the last minute goal that they scored with Havertz that won them the game, even though we were by far the better team. We definitely owe them one at St. James's, and I hope hope by then, the one thing I don't want, and I'm sure you lads would agree, I don't want to be going to Chelsea having to still get something. I want Champions League wrapped up before then. I want it to be wrapped up by Leicester, if not hopefully before, so that we can go into that Chelsea game without any pressure. And I genuinely think without any pressure, we could go there and comfortably win. But looking at the results and looking at, it's quite easy to say as Newcastle fans, we're going to win every game. But in reality, I think getting a point there would probably be more than fair for Newcastle, I reckon.
So that would take us then to 10 more points and on to 75 points. Sorry, move that. But let us carry. I don't know what happened there. There we go. So let's go on to Man United. And maybe we'll try and speed this up as well. Are there any of their games that you think they'll drop points?
I'm looking at them and I'm trying to find drop points.
Yeah. Maybe when they play Bournemouth on the 20th, then they have to play Chelsea on the 25th and Fulham on the 28th. There's a tight turnaround there. 3 games in the space of a week.
Yeah, that's true. Wolves away should be comprehensive. Wolves at home should be comprehensive. The only problem with Bournemouth is Bournemouth are definitely going to have the flip-flops on because Gary O'Neill's done a great job, hasn't he, in turning them around and making sure they're safe and they're not in that relegation conversation. So Bournemouth, I'm sure, will probably roll over for them. Maybe Chelsea, again, not just talking about us, but, Chelsea could click into place, as I say. When you've got a team full of players like they have, you would think that they'll get a tune out of them at some point. And if you can't get up for Man United away, then you're not going to be able to get up for anything, are you? So possibly Chelsea, I'd say. Fulham at home again. Really, they should be winning that.
And are you saying that they'd could potentially get a defeat or a draw against Chelsea?
I'd say draw at best, probably. Yeah, that's me being hopeful. Yeah, I'd say probably draw. What about you, Pete? Would you agree with that, or
whether they're wins or not, or losses or draws is another thing? But I will say this: I will say Wolves at home, Chelsea at home, and Fulham at home are all not easy, straightforward games for Man United. I genuinely believe that. They're not playing well at the moment. They're really not, and they are the team in the probably with the least type of form at this point in time, or the team that are not playing as well as the other two. With us and Liverpool, we're putting results together. Liverpool have got 5-5 or 6-6, whatever it is, 5-5, I think it might be. We've obviously had a loss after 3 straight wins. Man United have got back-to-back defeats, and then they've got Wolves, and Wolves are playing well at the moment. They just beat Villa the other day, and did well. So they're going to be going there with confidence. Yes, they're safe. Yes, they're comfortable. But sometimes teams play their best football when they're comfortable. And I genuinely believe that it won't be an easy game. Chelsea, for the reasons you've just said, Chris, is that they could click at some point, and what better way? And teams like Chelsea, with the players that they've got, they're always going to turn up at Old Trafford. They're likely to turn up. If they're going to turn up in a game, it's going to be away at Old Trafford because of the team that they're playing against and the magnitude of the game could be the difference. And then you've got Fulham at home, and I think let me go back to it if I can find it. someone put in the chat a really good point. Craig Lee put in there.
Oh, sorry,
Mitro
Pete, I've
is
just
back,
flashed that up. I thought that's what you were looking for. I've just flashed that
Yeah,
up.
Derek's absolutely right, because Craig Lee's put something similar. And Mitro back for the Fulham game, and Craig Lee just put Man U Fulham will be tasty. Mitro will want revenge and want to derail their Champions League challenge, and he's one of his, of course. So, and like he makes a great point. Both Craig and Derek make great points. Is that Mitro could be the difference? He'll be back playing. He'll be hungry. He'll want to end the season strong. And what better way than to destroy Man United's hopes potentially on the last day of the season? It might not get that far. They might have already wrapped up Champions League by then, but hopefully it could be the difference in derailing them that gets us hopefully third in the league. Who knows?
And the other thing to throw into the mix there, right? Look at if third and fourth is secure, let's say it's us and Man United, and it's totally secure.
Yeah.
Probably not likely with Liverpool breathing down the next. But Man United have a cup final on the 3rd of June as well, so it's like 5 or 6 days after this. So they might have that in mind as well going into that last game. If it's just a matter of trying to overtake us from 3rd and 4th. So are we gonna say turn this into a draw and give them 8 points out of the 12, or are we thinking we'll give them the win here as well, and we'd say 10 points similar to us?
There could be, yeah. I mean, there's definitely potential, as Pete says. There's definitely potential, because you look at the fixtures, don't you, and you go, oh yeah, it'll be that'll be an easy home win. But it's not always the case, is it? I mean, look, we saw that yesterday. In the Brighton game, people can lose their heads a little bit. I'm not forgetting as well, Man United losing to West Ham. And by the way, West Ham fully deserved that win. West Ham were on top for a lot of the game. What I saw anyway. I know I was doing the show, but West Ham looks really, really good.
Can I just stop us there, because I thought this was the one from previous, so I apologize for this.
I've just started them.
Yeah, but massive thanks. Another $10 for the donation for the channel. Thank you so much. And I wanted to get that out there. But in response to his, he put, he hates Twitter, but he has several NUFC store gift cards, emails for the channel to give away during the summer program in anticipation of next season's merchandise being released. So amazing. Thank you so much for that. And no doubt we'll throw the email out there for you, or put it in the chat of some form.
I'll grab the email address. I'll give me a second and I'll find it, and we'll work from that there.
We'll get it out to you, Tampa Toon, no doubt. And massive thanks for your support. Really appreciate that. And,
thank you.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So top man, Chris, for starting that. Because I was that. I'm sure I've looked at this, and then there's different comments, so I had to scroll back to it really quickly. But I am hidden by the comments, Jules. Don't worry, it's okay. Chris was talking because Chris was hidden by the comments, but I thought he needed to be in the right place. So I popped him up there while we go through the comments. But no problem at all. Some great questions coming in, for sure. I don't know if you want to go to. Actually, just before. Maddison not banned past game week 32, so he isn't banned for the game. That would have been brilliant news if he was. But he's definitely not banned from what Stephen's put in there. Yeah. So thank you for that, Stephen. But where do
I've got an email address. It's not the one I was looking for, but it's the one that'll do, and we'll get I'll share it with the guys in Tampa Toon. So it's one that we created before. So I'll keep an eye on it then if something's in. So I just want to put it in the chat there. So it's loadedfootballdaz@gmail.com. We'll see it there then when it comes in. Cool. Thanks for that. Okay, maybe we just carry on and finish this table at least, and we'll take a few questions. So we settle on. Do we settle on 8, or are we giving them 10 points?
Mate,
8.
Give them 8.
Give them 8. Okay. I'd say they get the 10, but yeah, we'll give them 8. Now Liverpool. Okay, I look at automatically. I think they're going to beat Leicester. Anyone disagree with that?
No.
They win. I'm going to jump to Southampton. I think they beat Southampton. Southampton, who need to win all the remaining games, and even if they did, they still might go down. So I think they're going down at the weekend, potentially. But then it's the Villa game, and that is the big one. That's one I could see a draw in. But I know Liverpool are at home. But what's your thoughts?
And you know what, as well, Daz, I think it's fair to say, like we're all guilty of it, and I've just done exactly what you did. I've just agreed with you. Like there is a potential, isn't there, for Leicester to get something? Like because we all expect, don't we? And Liverpool have been on this fantastic run, and we spoke about it weeks ago, saying that Liverpool can do this. You know, Liverpool can quite easily put a string of results together. They've been scraping one goal wins. You know, it was 1-0 against Fulham, 1-0 against Brentford, and they beat someone else 2-1, I think it was, or something like that. But who knows? You know, Leicester could just turn up, couldn't they? And the fact that Leicester are at home, if that Brighton result is, if that doesn't give them a kick up the backside, I don't know what will, because really Leicester have got to be looking and thinking, you know, we've got 3 games here to turn this round. We've got to start winning soon. So you never know, do you? But I do take your point. It's probably unlikely, given you know, looking at the other 35 games. But
these are Leicester's games, Chris. We've got Liverpool, Newcastle, and West Ham. None of them are easy games.
It's do or die, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's do or die, yeah. Because I mean, I think they'll fancy the Liverpool game more than the Newcastle game. I really, really do.
They've got good players, Chris.
Yeah,
and they've got good players, and you made a good point, because it wouldn't surprise me with that with how bad they lost. Like I don't know if you saw the fans during the game; they were giving them right stick at half time. They were telling them to get off the pitch and all sorts. They were going mad at them, and so they're going to want to hit back. And I'm not saying
Maddison got a bit of grief in the post match as well, didn't he? He had to come out and explain himself.
A lot of the fans have been giving him a lot of stick because they know he's leaving. You know, Tillemans. You know what? I spoke to Lee about this yesterday. I was talking to him about Leicester, and it's like, and he was saying Leicester are in the worst position possible at the moment, and it's down to the owners. They want to sell the club. There's no disputing that, but you've got too many players that have got their heads away from Leicester. You've got Sancho, for example, already agreed to deal with Atletico Madrid. He's already gone. You've got Tillemans, it's on a free transfer. He's the captain. I didn't realise he's the club captain, and he's leaving in the summer, and they've given him the armband. Like, what type of leadership is he going to give, knowing that he's already his agent's probably already negotiating with teams to leave? You know what I mean? So, and then you've got Maddison, who's their linchpin, their key player, but yet he knows he's out the door too. So, are you really going to give everything, knowing that that regardless of what happens with Leicester, you're going to go anyway? Yeah. Whereas you've got people like Vardy, you've got people, you know, other people in the team that might not necessarily leave, or be sold on, that are fighting for everything, because this is it for them. You know, some of these players might not get a chance of Premier League football again. So they're in a really difficult, delicate position. Vardy,
do you know what? It's a great
championship football next season. The guy's 36.
It's a great point you make. It's a fantastic point you make, because I was just thinking when you were saying it, which Premier League club, promoted or not, or even existing ones, is going to take a chance on Jamie Vardy based on what they've seen this season, knowing the wages he'll want? No one will take him on.
No one will take him on. Not at 36. They won't take him on, but he'll want to retire at Leicester. He'll want to retire at Leicester. Like he'll probably stay around for another year or two, and then he'll probably retire. And you know, the prospect of him going down to the Championship might be good. He might score loads of goals, but he ain't going to want to play Championship football with Leicester, not knowing that it weren't long ago that they were playing Champions League football and Europa League football and Europa Conference League football at the top end of the table, just missing out in 5th place 2 years in a row. Like, it's such a weird situation for Leicester, but it reminds me of us in 2016 when we got relegated, when we eventually got relegated with Rafa. We had the likes of Musa Sissoko, Gini Wijnaldum, Daryl Janmaat, and players like that were seen as these top-level players that didn't perform. And then literally it got towards the end of the season. This is when Jamal Lascelles stepped up and called out some of these first-team players because they were letting the team down. And this is why we ended up kind of going out on a whimper, because they knew that even though we were getting relegated, they wanted out. Florian Thauvann's another one. They knew they were going to find another team regardless, even if they got relegated. So it didn't really matter. Okay, and it was someone like Andros Townsend, for example. Remember when he came in and he was lightning for us, and he scored some fantastic goals and played some of his best football of his career during that period that could have nearly kept us up. But he then went off, and he knew he was going to get another move elsewhere. It's just one of those situations. And Leicester in that at the moment, they're in a really, really difficult position. But yeah, I just think that maybe we might get a reaction from Leicester in a positive way for Newcastle, and that Liverpool might be on the receiving end of that. But it's more hope than anything, isn't it, really?
So altogether, lads, you're saying that Liverpool still win this one, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not sure.
It's like that, isn't it? It is like that. I mean, we can only base it off what we've seen over the past, as I say, previous 35 games. And Leicester must have gone into that Fulham game going, like, boys, this is it now. This is where we get our points. And then before they know it, they're 3-0 down against Fulham. So, they're going to be going into this Liverpool game thinking, oh, my God, the fans are going to be on our backs, whatever. They've just got to look at what Everton have done and go, right, we need to replicate that. That's what we've got. That's the kind of performance we need to put in where they cause a shock. And as I say, Liverpool can't continue for me in the vein of form that they're in, because they're scraping over the line most games. Not beating teams 3-4, 5-6-0. They're just winning.
That's why I think the Villa one is one that I could see as a potential draw.
Yeah.
And Southampton will win. So I think we have to be kind of like, we all want Leicester to come out firing against Liverpool, but will it happen? I think I would like Leicester to stay up, actually, but because I like Leicester. Sorry, Pete, but they're going down. The fixtures are coming; they're going down.
What are you doing, Daz?
I know, I don't mind Leicester. It's nice. The nice story was romantic the way they won the league that time.
I've got a question for you, Pete. Someone says to you now, and he goes, right, you can either relegate Leicester or Everton.
Who are you picking? Spaces left. Come on, man. Give me a chance. Let me have
Well, no, I think we'll assume that either either Nottingham Forest or Leeds are taking the other one. If it was, because I said this a few weeks ago, I said for me, Forest are down. Maybe I'm wrong. Forest are down based on the remaining fixtures, and it's either Leicester or Everton that go. And I'm going to stand by that.
Let's see who Forest have. Forest have Chelsea, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace.
That's rock solid.
I'd rather those fixtures though than Leicester's.
Really?
Liverpool, us, and West Ham.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
they are pretty bad as well.
Yeah, but you think West Ham are going to be on the beach by the end of the season? They're already safe. They're going to save themselves potentially for the Europa League, Europa Conference final. Hopefully they don't get there, but if they do, they'll be saving themselves. So that could be one where they rest a few players and could potentially sneak a result. I don't know. It's a tough one, and you know what? No, I don't know. I don't know. I can't decide. I just want both. But
there's so many factors as well, isn't there? Because obviously you're thinking Leicester and all your local lads. You're thinking Everton because you don't like them, and then also you're thinking, well, maybe Leicester because it will make getting Maddison far easier.
I just want
Vice-wise.
I'd love Everton
Leeds.
to go down, but yeah, Leicester, if it meant us getting a Harvey Barnes or someone, if it meant us benefiting from it by plucking one of their better players out, I'd probably go Leicester. I would.
Okay.
Interesting. I'm going to throw a name out to you that I'd not thought about, but I like him. But he's been injured. James Justin. He's been injured for a while now, and he obviously missed the last chunk of the season. But
Leicester.
he right back. He lightning quick.
He was good, yeah.
I think he was being looked at for England just before he got injured.
He's a bit like Walker Peters as well. He can play left back as well, can't he?
Yeah, he can play both.
Yeah.
Predominantly right back. They signed him from Luton. He had a really great spell at Luton, and then they signed him and he did well. What do you think about him as an option? And the name was floated the other day, and I thought, if he's fit and he's fully fit and he's ready, could he be a good alternative option? Pace. He's got the one thing that Trippier hasn't got is pace.
I remember I used to pick him for my fancy football team back when I played it.
I picked
last year, I think.
Before. It's an interesting one, Pete. It's an interesting one, and I suppose as well that you probably wouldn't be looking at that much for him. We need to get Mike back on from the Southampton podcast to ask him how much Carl Walker Peters is now.
You know as well as I do, Mike's done. He's done. He didn't want to do it away days. He was like, "Yeah, we're getting relegated. We'll see you in a couple of years." But Walker Peters, he's a good player. You know what? I think someone put it in the chat. Actually, there was a comment earlier. Here it is. Jordy Toon for life. The more I see Walker Peters, the more I see him as perfect for Newcastle. Thoughts?
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Walker Peters. Obviously, you've talked about him a little bit just then, Chris. But what do you boys generally seen? Now you've kind of watched him a little bit more. What do you think of him? Do you think he'd be a good foil for Newcastle? We watched him at St James's Park.
Yeah, I really like him. I just keep thinking back to the time when I can't remember what season it was, but he was man of the match for them against us. I think it was under Eddie Howe, but he still must have been last season. But we was keeping a bit of an eye on him when the game they were at live there the other day. But no, I would be happy to see him rock up at Newcastle for sure, and he give us a bit of versatility then as well in the flanks.
Yeah, definitely. So it just offers us something a little bit different. But look, another one we can add to the list of discussion for the summer.
Yeah. So did we settle on points for Liverpool even? Are you happy to go here and say 7 points and throw in the Villa as a draw, or do you want me to alter here?
I'm happy to stick with that, not unless you boys want to change it.
I think it's probably being fair. I can't see them winning all three. I really can't.
Cool. And I skipped ahead, and as we were chatting, I did the Brighton ones, but we can change them. So, anyone see them beating Arsenal?
No.
I can see a draw.
You can see a draw?
Yeah, I can. I can see that. I can see them getting a draw. I can just see Arsenal's home form hasn't been great recently. I know they beat Chelsea, but their home form hasn't been great, and they do tend to concede goals. Brighton are a well-drilled team. They are suffering some injuries at the moment, though. Solly March pulled his hamstrings, looking like he's going to miss the Newcastle game. But yeah, I can see possibly a draw. But look, I wouldn't deviate from that because I think that's what's kind of expected. But yeah.
Right. Okay. We'll leave it at that for now. Newcastle, we've already said that we win that one. Southampton, they're beating Southampton. Everyone else is as well. Man City, they're losing that because should be Man City collecting the title at that stage. And I said Villa, give them a draw there. So that would give them 4 more points.
Yeah.
and bring them to 59 points. If we just do the running totals, then we would finish third, so with 75 points. Man United would finish fourth with 71. Liverpool would finish fifth and outside Champions League places with 69. And Brighton would finish wherever, maybe like sixth or seventh. It depends, because there's more like Spurs are in there as well. They're kind of fighting with them. So if we went there, they might finish seventh or that. But well, I think the lowest we can finish now is sixth. And if we bring up this little,
I think you've got the image actually.
I have that image here. If we remove that, this one here. So yes, as if we get 71 points, or sorry, above 71 points, or 71 points if it comes to goal difference, we're in the Champions League. If we need one more point, or to get above 66 points to guarantee us Europa League, and we're already in the conference if we wanted to be, and we lost all the rest of our games. But so that's where it's a nice little graphic that's doing the rounds. It kind of gets updated after every round of games. So interesting is that one. But so maybe we should take some questions then, and go down that route, and we can deviate back around and give maybe say who we think is going to win the league and who's going to get relegated as well towards the end. But
before we start. Oh, sorry, mate. I was just going to say, before we start on the questions, could I ask? Someone's put it in the chat. Could I ask a loaded question? And it's only a quick. I know, yeah. It's well,
we need music for that.
It may not be an easier one. Yeah. Do you know what? I was just thinking that, like a little dun or something like that.
Yeah,
and anyone can press it at any point. But I was thinking then when you had the main fixtures up and we were talking about Europa League, Europa Conference, whatever. And you don't have to do a massive answer, just a quick one. But is it fair to say if we don't get Champions League, the season's been a disappointment? Is that fair to say?
It depends when you answer that question. Because if you were to answer that question like 2 weeks after the season, I think you give a different answer to as the season just closed on the 28th of May, because I think on the 28th of May you would say yes, it's been a disappointment. But if you were to give yourself 2 weeks, I think you'd say no. If you were to finish fifth, for example, because for me, I said at the start of the season 8th or higher. So we exceeded that. We're going to finish between 6th and 3rd. So it's a plus, and so you kind of just have to be careful when you answer the question.
What about you, Pete?
It wouldn't be a disappointing season for me. However, I would be disappointed if it's weird. I would be disappointed if we didn't get Champions League from the position we've been in, but it wouldn't be for me a disappointing season. For me, the way in which we've played, we deserve at the very least Europa League football, and as Daz quite rightly put on the screen a second ago, we're 1 point away from confirming that. So we've almost, in my eyes, we've hit our target, we've hit our benchmark in where we deserve to be in terms of the football we've played. However, some will argue we're the third best football team in the league, and I agree with that. So really, we should be playing Champions League football. So not a disappointing season, but would I personally be disappointed? Yes, because for the first time in a long while, in the last week, I've gone all out and said, I want Champions League. We're getting Champions League. So I want us to get Champions League. That's just me. That's just me now. That's what I want.
Hey, Pete, what took you so long? I've been saying that since October and started playing that Champions League music.
Look, secretly we've wanted it, but secretly wanted it and actually being, sticking at your chest and going, we're getting Champions League. It's two different things, because you never know in football.
No, you never know. Hey, it could be worse. I was on the Magpie channel saying that we're there already, and everyone in the comments said, "No, we're not there yet."
You know what? Just to add in my thoughts on it, and the reason I asked is, like, obviously at the start of the season, like, you know, if someone said Europa League, I think we'd walk on, fucking hell, Europa League, that's amazing. But I genuinely, and I think it would take months for me to get over it. I think if we didn't get Champions League this season, like I'd be absolutely fucking gutted. Like I know you'd look back and go, oh, it's been good. It's, you know, we've come on loads. Look how far we've come and all that. But this opportunity that we've got now and where it can escalate us to, if we've got to game 38 on, what is it, Sunday the 28th of May, and we don't have Champions League football,
The tears, all right.
Oh, mate, I honestly, we're not going to have a better opportunity ever than right now. And I think the position we're in, like Pete said, the position we're in, I think if we don't secure it, like it's a catastrophe. I'll be honest. That's how highly I feel about it. I just think it would just be a disaster. Not a few months down the line, I'd feel better. A few months down the line, I feel better, but I would just be inconsolable. I'll be honest. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but it was just this close.
Yeah, I know. And especially looking at the fixtures, like
it's in our hands.
To do it. Like.
We're so much closer. It's different to 2012.
Yeah.
Because 2012, it was almost kind of slipping away.
Yeah.
And you had the threat of Chelsea winning the Champions League, which was always in the back of our minds. So when we lost it, it was kind of like, oh, well, Chelsea might win it anyway, so it's not a bad thing. And when they did, we were like, well, happy days. Yeah, we weren't going to get it, even if we'd have got him fourth. But we've played better football. We've been the third best team in the league. It's for all the reasons you said. That's why I would said I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed if we didn't get it, but I wouldn't say it was a disappointing season because it hasn't been. The progress that we've made, even if we got Europa League, would be, it's still for me a year, maybe even two ahead of where we would have wanted to be.
It is.
And be comfortably getting Europa League, by the way, especially if we get the win at the weekend. But if we beat Leeds, I'm going to say we're getting Champions League. We are.
Yeah.
There is no way that we're going to let Brighton and Leicester come to St James's Park and walk away with either maximum points or a point in both of those games. There is no way that we're going to let one of those teams leave without us taking 3 points. So
how funny would it be?
Would be massive.
How funny was it be though? Like, I'm laughing when you saying that, Pete. You know, if we went back over the last 10 shows, say, and you just clipped us all going, if we beat these, we've got Champions League. And like every week, I reckon we'll be saying that the last game of the season. If we beat these, I reckon we've got Champions League. Like,
the montage there, right?
I've been saying it myself. But we just still, I don't know.
We might not even need it. We like another win, and Brighton can't catch it. Daz, can you just put that picture up?
Just check it.
Yeah. I'm looking at it every day as well, doing my calculations.
So Brighton can get a maximum of 70 points. Yeah, at this moment in time.
Yeah, 70 points.
It could well be down to 67. With a loss to Arsenal on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. So that could effectively take them out of the race, especially if we beat Arsenal. Then a non-factor, it goes down. Effectively, it goes down to 3 because they can't catch us.
Yeah.
So then it's about, right, can we get the next win? If Liverpool drop points at Leicester, we could be pretty much there. If they drop points against Leicester, we could be pretty much there. So going into Brighton, what does that takes Liverpool to? So if they drew, what's that? 69.
69, yeah.
If they lost, 68, which is what we'd be on if we beat Leeds. So if they lost to Leicester, all we need is a point at Brighton for Champions League football. That's how quickly it can turn. So we could be 7 points away, as we are right now, but a win against Leeds and Brighton getting beat away at Arsenal and Leicester doing a job over Liverpool could mean that by Brighton we only need a win or even a point to secure Champions League.
Yeah, it might only be a point.
Yeah, it just turns around so quickly.
Yeah,
it could turn around so quickly. So this is why Eddie Howe's so right that we just need to focus on
the game in hand. The next
Yeah.
game, forget about everything else. I know Trippier says it in the podcast with Jake Humphries as well. He says, okay, we shouldn't be afraid to talk about Champions League and dream of it, but they have to remain focused though on that next game because everything else is irrelevant. It's in our hands. It doesn't matter whatever. If everyone else wins all the rest of their games, good for them. If we win all ours, we're through. We're in the Champions League with third spot as well. So it's all in our hands, and focus on Leeds and beating them and putting them under pressure.
I think he might be kidding. I believe he is kidding, but interesting comment on there from Jonathan.
Oh yeah, and then he wrote something after it.
Yeah, he did put just kidding, but seriously, I wouldn't even kid about that sort of stuff, Jonathan. Not even kidding at all. But yeah, I just thought
I had a massive argument with me blue mate the other night, as I always do about Pickford. So I'll keep it short, but basically, he played really well against Brighton. He had a really good game, but as per usual, it was the Jordan Pickford show. So he was pulling faces, he's screaming, he's shouting, he's parading up and down, and I said to him, I couldn't stand it. He was like, "You take him," and I was like, "Trust me," I said I wouldn't because he really annoys me. Regardless of the fact, like he's a Mackham, it's just the fact that he the way he carries on. I couldn't warm to him at all. Really couldn't. Not that I think we'll have to worry about that because we don't. But
I have thrown my own loaded question out there for you.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. Before you do, I'll go ahead.
I love it. So you've got to name your 3 teams that you think are going to get relegated, and within those 3 teams, I want you to name 1 player you would take from those teams.
Okay.
So
yeah, keep that up, Daz.
It could be, it's an interesting one because it could be different per answer because the teams that you think might get relegated could well be different. So,
and if you need the fixtures, Chris, I have them as well. So, so Southampton, we can kind of do it together. Southampton are gone.
Yeah.
So, who would you take from Southampton then? 1 player that you would take from Southampton if they got relegated?
Just one.
Me or you, Daz?
I'll go for Walker Peters.
Yeah, same. Okay. I'm not fully sold on James Ward-Prowse. I've said it a few times. I've got concerns over whether he's mobile enough to be in our midfield. So on that basis, I would say, but now Daz has said Kyle Walker Peters. Do I go for someone else? Do you know what? I'll go for someone else. I'll say Lavia.
I was about to put that on the screen because Jordy Dax has put, if we take anyone from Saints, I'd rather have Romeo Lavia, and that's an interesting.
And he doesn't stop moving. He doesn't. Yeah. He's got loads of energy.
It's an interesting alternative there. That's for sure. But either one of those 2 options would be great options.
Or both.
Both.
Yeah. Right. Next club. Play along here, you Pete, as well. With your loaded question. Next club to go down. I think based on their fixtures, I'm going to say Leicester. I can't see. I can't see. By
the way, why have we not got Forest fixtures?
I have them here. They're in a different tab.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's the way. I just got that before the show. They're kind of split up on the Premier League. So the Forest have Chelsea, Arsenal, and Palace, and West Ham have Brentford, Leeds, and Leicester. West Ham have a very decent run in, and they're on 37 points. So I think right. So who we put?
How good would this be? Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. A Leicester 7-1 repeat when we won the champion, we got promoted from the Championship in the early 90s. That's my first ever game watching Newcastle. Imagine that with Keegan in attendance, we smashed them to get Champions League football.
Wow, that'd be class. Last game of the season at home. Last home game of the season, yeah. I'm saying Leicester. to go down. And I am spoiled for choice, Leicester. I'm going to say Harvey Barnes, I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to say Harvey Barnes.
I will. I'm going to steal Pete's thunder here. I'm going to say James Maddison. And again, I'm not wholly sold on Harvey Barnes. I don't know what it is. I just like you lads backed it up the other week, and you were talking about his figures, especially in a poor Leicester side. But when I watch him, you see moments of like real promise, and then other times I just think, like, he doesn't stand out to me. And the money that Leicester would want, I'd be expecting a lot more. So on that basis, I would say Maddison.
Maddison.
Is there any other answer, Pete? Is there really?
Do you think they're getting relegated? Is the other question.
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of hoping that their man Everton go, but I think it, out of the two, it could well be Leicester. I'm hoping that it's more of a hope that they get anything from Liverpool. I don't believe they will, but it's kind of like you're hoping that they turn up and put performance in for the fans after that result. But I genuinely can't see it. One player from yesterday, Leicester, James Maddison, of course. If I was going to be alternative to you two and throw someone else out there, it'd probably be a James Justin or a Yuri Tillemans.
Yeah.
Although Yuri Tillemans, and this is the thing with both Maddison, with all three, Maddison, Barnes, and Tillemans, they're not playing well for Leicester at the moment.
Yeah,
they're not. Like Maddison hasn't played well for a long while at Leicester, but is that because his head's turned? Is that because Tillemans' head's out the door? We had a report the other day that Harvey Barnes wants to leave in the summer, that he wants to move on. Is that the reason why they're not putting performances in? And I just think, do they all three of them, do they need a fresh start? Is that going to get the best out of them? Are they going to rediscover their form? So I do think, look, Maddison is likely to go south. I probably think we've got more chance of getting Tillemans than Maddison. I think we've got more chance of getting Barnes than Maddison, but I would like Maddison because of his obvious abilities.
I would have straight up picked Tillemans before the night before the takeover. I was doing the deal with Ben Jacobs for Tillemans, but Chris, you sent us on a clip of Tillemans, and it was him not tracking back, and he just gave up.
Yeah. Madrid.
Yeah.
Hala Madrid.
I've literally just heard it. It's on next door. It's on my phone, but I'm a bit behind. I'm just seeing Camavinga running in now, and what a goal! What a goal! Is that Vinicius Junior? Yeah, what a player!
He's sick.
Playing against them next year.
It honestly, it's a stunning strike. It's top corner. Keeper's got no chance. Like, it's unreal. Like, the guy's quality, man.
Yeah, they're class. Yes. Okay, we'll move on. Let's go to our third team that we think are going to get relegated. And let's look at some of the fixtures. We need fixtures for Leeds. So here's Leeds fixtures. There's us, West Ham, and Spurs. We need fixtures for we've got fixtures for Everton. They are Man City, Wolves, and Bournemouth. Who else do I say there? That's Forest and West Ham. Okay, here they are here. West Ham is Brentford, Leeds, and Leicester, and Forest are Chelsea, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace. I think
It's a tough one.
it is a tough one, isn't it?
I'll kick it off with Forest. I still think Forest are going to go. And one player who's really stood out to me over the past number of weeks and the season, to be fair, I mean, they paid a hell of a lot of money for them, but that Morgan Gibbs-White looks a player. Real player. And again, his attitude's questionable, apparently, But in terms of like, I don't know if you saw the goal. Who was it who scored it yesterday? Can't think which Forest player it was, but he did like a little back flick for him. He just reads the game so well, and he's so good on the ball, and he's young, and he's again, I don't know how much he cost, but
Brendan Johnson.
he's another one as well.
You're about Morgan's Gibbs White.
Mm.
Is that who you're on about?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's quality. Morgan's Gibbs White is.
Yeah, he's he's better than what I thought he was. Like obviously, I knew Wolves forced a lot of them, and then Forest paid. I think Forest paid like 40 or 50 million for them. It was something stupid.
That's the problem. It was 40 million they paid for.
Yeah.
So any team, if they get relegated, any team that wants to sign him, Forest are literally going to have to make a loss on it. No one's going to pay 40 million for him.
But he looks
he deserves to play in Premier League football. He's a really good player. He is.
Yeah. Him or Johnson.
Yeah. Brendan Johnson for me. I take it Forest. Hey, you never hear your man now. What's the little fucking Lingard? Jesse Lingard.
Goats just said it was Felipe. It was the Felipe goal. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah. That was nice. And he did a nice little
flick.
He's a defender or something. Yeah, he did a celebration.
He played against us. Against us. Good, decent player.
For Atletico. He used to play for Atletico, Felipe, didn't he? Mm.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Anyone else other than Forest we're thinking to get relegated?
Everton.
32 points. Yeah, they just need the Leeds win.
Actually, let's go Leeds. Let me throw Leeds out there. Who would you take from Leeds if they went down?
Yeah. What you call Harrison, who we're linked with for ages.
Harrison.
The keeper has had a bad run, but he's very young. If he was willing to be a backup,
he's been so bad the last few weeks, though, hasn't he? But I take your point, Daz. Take your point.
I've never rated Mesle. I haven't seen what because he's bigged up as being the next French goalkeeper. I don't see it. I genuinely don't. I see him conceding a lot of goals. I see him making a lot of mistakes. And I'm not talking about the defense, Leeds defense, or the team making mistakes. I'm talking about he makes mistakes. His positional play is really poor. His stance is really poor. His positional play is really poor, coming off the line, etc. He makes good saves now and again, but he lets in equally some really poor goals. So I don't see it.
Me and Callum were talking about them the other day, Pete, funnily enough. And because one of my mates mentioned them, and he went, Meslier, he's not very big, is he? And he's not very commanding of his goal, like you've just said. Do you know how tall he is?
He's tall. He's
6'6".
Yeah.
But he doesn't command his goal. He doesn't look. He's not in control of the space. You know the way some keepers look really like big presence, and they really like fill the goal, as in the positional, the way that they are. But he just kind of looks. He just stands there, and he just doesn't command the area very well.
Yeah, I agree.
Another player from Leeds, I'll say Wiley Granto. It might be pronounced another way, Chris. Maybe you might know.
Don't get me started on that. Is that another t-shirt?
He's quality.
Willy Granto. Yeah, he looked good when he's playing there.
He does. He picked him up really cheap as well. Really cheap.
Yeah.
He's in the Italian squad. He's only like 20 years old.
Mate, he's 19. Callum said to me the other day, I was like, he's not 19. Look at him. He went, he's 19, and I had to Google it, and I was like, what the hell? He looks like late 20s. He's 19.
He's already been called up to the full Italian squad. I think he might have already got a cap.
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a terrific young player. Leeds are lucky to get hold of him. There'll be a lot of teams that will be interested in him, and he's another player at a young age would.
Great age.
Great age. Eddie Howe would get more than a tune out of him. There's no doubt about it.
I was looking. I think it was Geordie Tune for Life. Put it in the chat. I was when you asked the question about Leeds, Peter, and I was thinking, who was I taking? I'm going through the whole team, and then I got to Weston McKennie, and I thought, well, no, because Weston McKennie has looked awful since he joined. I would say his midfield. Yeah, exactly. I would say his midfield partner, Tyler Adams, especially given the fact that he's the captain of Leeds as well, and I think he's a great age. He's not a good age. He's a great age, and he's a captain. I'm sure he's only like 23, 24. So out of everybody, considering and taking everyone into account, I know someone's mentioned Jack Harrison. I don't know. I look at Anthony Gordon, I look at St. Maximin, I look at Miggy, I look at even Murphy, and I think, is he an upgrade on those? And I'm not entirely sure he is. Not knocking him, but I would probably say Tyler Adams for me.
Yeah, good option. Yeah, sorry, that's gone.
Oh no! If we're finished with Leeds, I was going to switch to Everton. And who would you take from Everton? I'm just googling their full squad here. Their keeper isn't bad, Andy Lernigan. No. Let me see. Leeds. Look at Nana. What's your name? He's an option.
He was on the bench yesterday. He didn't even start.
He's not getting played. I think he was ill the game before, and then the game just gone. Dyche didn't start him. He started James Garner instead, which obviously turned out to be a good thing. But it makes you wonder whether some words have been spoken, and maybe Onana's already working out his next move.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Yes. I always say Ben Godfrey on this, always, don't I? And I do. So as an alternative name, who would be number 2 on my list, especially given what we need in the squad, I would throw Nathan Patterson into the mix.
The Scottish lad.
The white back.
He's got 20 appearances.
What do you reckon as well, Pete? Just to add, and Daz, we were talking about this the other night. Calvert-Lewin has another good game yesterday.
Yeah, but it has to be at a really cheap price.
He looked good. Oh yeah, for 15 million. Yeah, I'm not paying 40 million for him, but 15 million.
He did play well today. I'll be honest with you. He did have a good game. He's had a good couple of games actually.
Yeah,
so he's one of those. He's one of those situations that he's probably going to keep them up. But actually, for me, if we did get relegated, I wouldn't mind as a third option. I wouldn't mind. Like we talked about it in the chat. There was some noise coming out about Tammy Abrahams, and I kind of put it out to you guys about what you thought about that one as maybe a third option. Some people, not in our chat, but some people in general, just on social media, were saying, he wouldn't want to come in as a third option. He's not that good, and people like not rating him and blah, blah, blah. But I think he'd want to come in. I think he'd want to come back to England and be part of this, because Eddie Howe would ensure that he plays a lot of games. So I didn't realise Eddie Anderson's played 26 times for Newcastle this season.
Has he?
Oh.
Yeah. Off the bench.
Starts, though.
Yeah, I think he's come off the bench now and again and here and there. Not many starts, but the lad's, 20 years old. So get 26 appearances under his belt. He played 26 times. Not bad. Like, come on and make a difference in periods. And if we're playing on 4 fronts, we're in a position where Tammy Abrahams could get minutes. Who's to say that Wilson doesn't get injured and he's out for a period of time and Tammy Abrahams comes in and keeps his place? You don't know.
We definitely need another striker in the summer, and someone that we can rely on, because, as you said, Wilson, injuries could catch up on them again. I think Within Godfrey, that's Chris's mate. Maybe we should go for some viewer questions. We've kept them waiting long enough for the Q&A.
For the Q&A. An hour 20 in.
Where do we start? I could well be repeating myself, but I'm just going to go from top to bottom because we've got
Go
like
for it.
nearly 40.
Rapid fire.
Yeah, rapid fire. Let's do it.
Definitely. So, look, this is more of a comment. They talk about the remaining fixtures, so I won't go too much into that from Tom. But Steve put, even though question, if Joe Linton is injured, who comes in and do we change formation? Interesting. He did apparently hobbled up. Hobbled up. I didn't notice it, but apparently he might be nursing something, and he's not guaranteed for Leeds at the weekend.
Ooh,
Who comes in?
fucking hell.
What do we do?
They've got to change something, haven't they? We've got one central midfielder. Oh, no, we've got two.
Someone started talking about this the other day in our show, Chris, I think, and they were saying about Anthony Gordon playing in midfield. Weren't they? They were making that suggestion. I know, yeah, we were kind of going, oh, I don't know about that. But
Has he ever played there?
No, I mean, I can see it in terms of his intensity and his work rate. I get why they've said it. I just don't think, I don't think us, trying someone in a new position away to Leeds is probably a good idea.
we have to win.
I wouldn't have thought. Yeah. I think Elliot Anderson would have to come in. Let's not forget Eddie Howe was willing to start Elliot Anderson at home to Liverpool. I think he'd bring Elliot Anderson in.
Yeah, we still don't know anything else concrete about John Longstaff, though, do we? There's nothing else.
No. The only other alternative, I suppose, is to maybe look at going like 4-2-3-1, which really sounds good. But if Willock is one of the holders, that's not great. So we might have to change that up as well. It could be something more like 4-1-4-1, maybe something like that in terms of Bruno holding and then having your four and then a bit like a Christmas tree formation, if you like. But it would be difficult. And I think he would rather keep the same formation because why swap it up now when the lads have been trained and drilled to play this formation? So I doubt he'd change it at this point.
Yeah.
All goes back to needing that extra midfielder, though, as we said on transfer deadline day,
it does.
And leave it that late. But hopefully he'll be playing for us, though. We won't have to worry about it. But yeah.
Definitely. Just before we go to some of the questions, shout out to Mark who's in the chat. And those had a difficult day, as he's mentioned. So yeah, hope you are, fella. Good to see you in the chat. As well as that, we have another one. Even in all, still nervous of Live VAR pool winning all three. We've talked about that earlier on in the show, so keep an eye on that one and go back and watch that one. But Tom Dixon says, if Newcastle could sign one player in the transfer window, who would it be? Who would be your go-to guy? Could be a position, could be a player. What's your go-to?
I know who it won't be. It won't be Neymar that's getting talked about because that is just bizarre and it's not the route where we're going to take it. And even Eddie Howe rubbish to like these links to Neymar and Ronaldo and that was dreamland scenario, and we'll throw Mbappe in there before the whole takeover didn't go through the first time. But we know what we're about now. We're about bringing in players that can grow with us. And so it won't be someone like that. But to answer the question, then, Tom, okay, I'm going to say go to the one I said before, but I think the price is going to be unrealistic. I'm going to say Declan Rice, but I've seen talk of 120 million and crazy figures there. So if that's the case, forget it. So 80 million, fair enough. I'd go that far, but nothing more. And I know that would blow an awful lot of our budget. But for Champions League, I think it would be worth it. Well,
I'll tell you just to add into that, Daz, by the way, because it is a good shout. I must admit, I thought, maybe wrongly, that Declan Rice was on about 150, 200 grand a week at West Ham, but apparently he's only on 70 grand a week, which I found surprising. I thought he was on much more than that. Wow. If that's true, then maybe he's not completely out the question. I mean, he will get offered bigger than that. But if he's already doubling his wages, if we offered him 140, I don't think he'd turn his nose up at it.
150.
Yeah, and I just see the way when we played West Ham, you could just tell by Eddie how he would love Declan Rice in the team. You could just know by him that he would. So I think he's someone that they would, if it was at all possible, to try for it.
Yeah, I think if this is me pushing the boat out here. I think if there was a deal to be done at around 70 to 80 million with a view to paying 100 million, not 130, 120, I think Newcastle would do the deal. I do. If it meant a 70, 75 million, maybe pushing at 80 if we got Champions League football, I think Newcastle, for the reasons you've just said, Daz, is that Eddie Howe would want it. He's an Eddie Howe player. And you watch that game on Sunday, we have Declan Rice in the team. I don't think we lose.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think we lose that game. But it's an incredibly difficult deal to do. Now, the interesting part in that is that with all the links coming out today, West Ham have said to a Champions League team, first and foremost, we need to get Champions League to be even in that conversation. If we
forget it. Otherwise,
this fifth, it ain't happening. He's only going Champions League.
Anyone else?
My one. You see, all through this season, my one's been Moussa Diaby all the way through, and it's funny. Like maybe it's all these injuries. I don't know, but now I kind of feel like my main focus is on a central midfielder. Obviously, when John Drew Shelby left, I think I was at the end of my tether at that point because I'm thinking we already need a central midfielder, and then the one who's just about to come back from injury is gone as well. So I
don't even have Jeff Hendrick
losing me bag at that point. No. So on that basis, and he's getting spoken about a lot. Obviously, I've seen clips of him. I don't follow him religiously, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, and an endorsement from obviously the renowned Lee Davey, I would be looking. I would be really, really happy if we got Kefren Turan.
Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with Lee about Kefren Turan on some Monday, and I got glowing references. He watched him all season. He was like, he's a superstar. Like he's a superstar ready to explode.
Is he Fofana level, Pete, or is he not quite there?
And I spoke to Lee about this, and he's Fofana level.
It must be summertime.
Yeah,
talking about
he's already said. To be fair, I've not had a chance to speak to you boys about it, but I said, "Do you fancy coming on for a transfer special? Maybe Pete Graves comes on again." He was like, "100%." He's like, "Get me on there." Like he's got. I think he's got a lot to talk about French-related players. I don't know if you might have saw a tweet that I put a question out about the Tammy Abrahams thing, and he came back with a player from Lens. Who look, check him out. He's a super talent. He's a striker. I want to pronounce his name right, so just bear with me. It's Lois Openda.
So I'm putting that in Twitter.
Yeah,
18 goals this season. And he said like someone needs to get him now because he's a top striker. So it'd be interesting who sniffs around him. If Lens get Champions League football, and we're going off topic here, but if Lens get Champions League football, I think those players stay. But if they don't get Champions League football, there's a chance that Openda and Seko Fofana both leave. And don't rule out a Seko Fofana. We know he's a player that's looked at. We know there's a player that looked at. However, I will flip that on. Today, there has been a lot of links that we've pulled out of our interest in Moussa Diaby. That's come out today, and that we're looking elsewhere. Honestly, and look, I'm maybe giving some things away here. Speaking to Lee yesterday, it looks like PSG won him, and he's approved. Yeah. A lot of reports today are saying that Arsenal are now the front runners. I don't think they are. I think it looks like, and this leads into the Neymar conversation which we started. It looks like they want Moussa Diaby back at PSG, and it looks like PSG want to get rid of one of either Neymar or Messi. Too many superstars in the team. They want to start to build an actual team. And it's either that Messi signs a new deal, which, speaking to Lee yesterday, is not out the question. He thinks there might be a chance that he signs an extension. But if he does, then they want Neymar gone, which is why I think Neymar's name is hot topic at the moment, because they're trying to kind of push him out there,
Agents.
to get his move. And they're looking. He's a prison. He should never have left. And Lee said that to us when he came on way back when, probably a year ago. He didn't understand why he left the club. He should have never left PSG. And it looks like that's the kind of player that they want to target and get him in. So it looks like he's going there, which now has pushed us in other directions and other players that we're linked in. So it's not the end of the world. Some of the players that we're linked with are good players.
Do you know, in many ways... sorry, Zaz, go on, mate, go
on. No, you go first, Chris, and I'll go back to the question.
I was just going to say, in many ways, maybe it might sound odd, maybe it's seen as a positive, because if Diaby has made his stance pretty clear and he's set his stall out, at least we're not going to be wasting time trying to negotiate and trying to get him over the line. And are PSG going to come in? Are they not going to come in? At least if he's just said, listen, they're interested in me, chances are I'm going to go there, and we've just gone, great, okay, no problem, and then we move on. I'd rather that than have a long drawn out saga. Does he want to come? Does he not? A bit like Ekatike. If there's even a hint of not interested, just sound, move on.
Yeah, could well be.
Now, Pete, another question for you. Who do you want? From Tom's question.
I forgot what the question was.
The question, I don't remember. As you try to wiggle out of it. One player, yeah.
Okay, one player. One player I would want. I'll say a position that I want. Because I genuinely can't give you a player right now. It probably would have been Moussa Diaby, but because that looks like it's not happening, I am now a little bit stuck. I would say the position I want more than anything is now a number 6. I definitely want a number 6.
Yeah.
Having seen what I've seen now, and without Longstaff, we need a number 6, 100,
horrible,
110%.
Horrible.
So if you're asking me who I would want out of those two, realistically, because I would love Declan Rice, as Daz said, but I just don't see us spending that sort of money. Maybe we go, you know what, fuck it, let's go for it. And that would be great. But for me, I've said it to you guys a lot. We need a ball breaker in the team. We need someone to break up play, and almost like a better ball playing version of Tiote. Someone that is up and at them, that can get at players, but is better on the ball. Kefim Turam is that guy. So I would love to get him. But Ugarte at Sporting Lisbon is a terrific player. He is going to go to the top. So if you're going to give me any two of those players, and let's not forget Manu Kone, also a very talented player. You got Haidara at Leipzig, terrific player.
His name got linked again the other day, didn't it?
Yeah.
You got 4 there, but if you're going to ask me, if you're going to give me 2 out of that, Kefim Turam and Ugarte. As a 5th, you could throw Lavia in there. Jimmy Watts, just put him in there. Yes, less experienced and less. You've got Premier League experience, but less experience. These guys have played at top level already, so you're coming in and they're already going to make an instant impact. For me, that's who I go. That's where I think we need. So I go there.
Off topic, but I put it in our chat. It was Kev Lawson's thread there yesterday, I think it was. Very, very good thread, and kind of goes through the details about what Newcastle and what Eddie Howe will be looking for in the summer. So check that out if you haven't seen that. It gives some kind of facts and figures and details about height and athleticism as well. That's versatile. That can play in maybe a number of positions that they will look towards in the summer. And he gives some examples then of players that he could fit into that category.
Do you know what does? It goes back, doesn't it? And we spoke about this shows not that long ago. When Mourinho first came into the Premier League with Chelsea, he signed big, strong, tall, but skillful players. And, you know, their team, when you look back at it, was huge. Like, it was just full of just, you know, solid, big, tall athletes who could get around the pitch. And when you look at the Newcastle team now, I think we've said it before when we've come up against other teams, you know, like your Botmans, your Joe Lintons, your Isaacs, players who are big, comfortable on the ball, but like they get about the pitch as well, which is why Joe Willock's probably, you know, like an Eddie Howe player and he likes him. It's all about intensity, isn't it? And it's all about having that engine. And if you've got a bit of you know, a bit of muscle or a bit of something about you, that's going to be right up his street. And the players that we've just mentioned have all got that. So it wouldn't surprise me, you know, if those players were on the list. They're the ones that we keep getting linked with. But yeah, it just wouldn't surprise you, would it?
I do love the loaded rapid fire Q&A with 40 questions, and we got 2.
We've got
Thanks, Tom, for that one, though.
We're doing great. Yeah, so let's speed it up. Sorry, yeah, we did. We digressed then, didn't we?
It's our own fault every time.
We just love it. We love it.
It's not necessarily a question, but it's a comment. It's an interesting one because I saw this today. The GOAT said, we can win, referring to Leeds, but the 12:30 kickoffs are a jinx and throw up random results. I saw something today that said the last time we won a 12:30 kickoff was when we beat Everton away during lockdown, when Wilson scored that flick-on header, which shocked me. I don't know if that's true, but that genuinely shocked me that was the last time we won a 12:30 kickoff. So
how many have we played though? How many? We don't tend to play that.
We
that
don't
time
have that many. We don't have that many.
The last one we played, I think we lost 3-0 to Villa.
Okay.
Look, records are there to be broken. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. God. Neil Carrot says, if City win the Champions League and also the Premier League, do they automatically enter for being defending champions? If so, does that mean an extra Champions League spot?
No, we went through this I think a few times, and it was clarified by Dom as well. But yeah, it's 4 spots up for grabs, and no matter what happens, it's four Champions League spots up for grabs. It doesn't matter. There'll be no 5th one.
The only caveat to that was if Man United won the Europa League and Chelsea won the Champions League or something like that. But that's now gone. Can't happen. Yeah.
A couple of really quick comments in here. Jonathan said, hope Brighton will take a beating at Arsenal and come real into SJP. Yesterday was significant. I would agree with that. And Paul mentioned about the email situation earlier. Hey, lads, you are a small business these days, 5.5k in subscribers. You need to email, or you need an email too, and LinkedIn account. So thank you for that.
We need a manager, Paul. We need a manager. That's what we need.
Loaded manager, yeah.
Get in there. Interesting one from
Jonathan. Get your CVs in.
There you go. You've heard it here first. Tierney was the only player not to throw himself on the ground when challenged on Sunday. Best behavior ahead of a transfer, potentially. What are your thoughts about that, boys?
Maybe.
Would you take him?
Maybe not his style either, to throw himself on the ground. Yeah, I'm kind of a bit on the fence.
What's your hesitation? What's your hesitation?
The other options available, the price Arsenal will want for him. You know, he did well at Celtic before he came to Arsenal, but he hasn't set things alight at Arsenal. As just I can't even say his name, Zinchenko. He's been really good for Arsenal this season. Wasn't great potentially against us, but Tierney, if he got at the right price, yes. and we're going to need to bulk out the squad as it is. So I would go for him probably if it was the right price.
Just before you go on, I have to put a comment on here because Mama Flossie, thank you for coming and joining us, because I did Terry Flewer's the top 6 show last night, and Mama Flossie is a big fan, Newcastle fan, on that show, and she hadn't seen Loaded, so I was like, "You've got to come on to Loaded," and she's here.
Welcome, welcome.
So great to have you on, and obviously Lisa's been chatting to her in the chat as well. Hopefully you come back for more shows, because look, you're a mad Newcastle fan, been supporting, and yes, great to have you on. So yeah, I just saw it and I was like, yes, she made it. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Thank you. Chris, what are you thinking?
I can see why Daz is hesitant. I think I think the answer is yes, because he's an upgrade on what we've got. So I wouldn't be disappointed to sign him, but then at the same time, like, I don't want to be spending 30-40 million on him, got to be honest. But if we get him for a decent price, then yeah, he is an upgrade on what we've got, 100%.
Okay. Interesting.
What about you, Pete? Would you want him?
Tierney, the only thing that stops me wanting him is his injury record. As a player, pace, determination, defensive ability, can whip a ball in. He has everything. He's the left back that we want. But for me, I don't want any more injured players coming to Newcastle. We've got enough as it is. And we don't want to be wrapping players up in cotton wool like we are with, like, every time Callum Wilson sprints for a ball. I'm like,
it's just like
every time Alan St. Maximin goes for a lung busting run, I'm like, I don't want players to be like that.
Yeah,
I want players to be fit and firing. And that back five have been the ever present this season. Trippier's played every minute pretty much. Shaw and Botman have pretty much played every single minute. Burn, fair play to, has played every single minute. We need players that are consistent, that are fit and firing every single game, that can battle and after a few days rest be back in. I don't want players that are constantly on the treatment table. We've had that enough. And that's the only thing that puts me off him.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't been injured for a while. He just hasn't played for Arsenal. So maybe that comes in our favour. But if the injuries are not an issue, if they are genuinely behind him, I take him 100%. Craig Lee's put, assuming we take third, who takes fourth? I genuinely think it could be a straight shootout between Man U and Liverpool. Forget us. We win on Saturday. The pressure's on them. Liverpool don't play till Monday. I think Man United play. Do they play Saturday or Sunday?
Man United play on the same day as us, on the Saturday.
They play later on.
As you said, Liverpool play on the Monday. But just going back to what we've spent an hour going through there, we had put down Man United to finish in 71 points and Liverpool to finish on 69 points. So that's just it all.
That's the answer.
That's scientific. That one. But
do you know what? If Liverpool had 2 or 3 more games, I think Liverpool would get it. But I think they've left it too late. Yes, Man United's having that shock defeat against West Ham, but again, as we referred to for ourselves, I think that gives them a kick up the arse. And they've got 3 games left, and they know what they need to do. And I think Man U will have too much for them. And I expect Liverpool to drop points as well.
Interesting.
Can't keep winning.
Yeah, that's true. Would you start Almiron against Leeds on Saturday?
No, he hasn't done enough yet. I thought ASM did more than Miggy when he came on, but I don't know if ASM has 60 minutes in him yet, coming back from an injury. I don't think I would start Miggy.
Okay, Chris.
I was thinking the same as Daz, and then I thought, normally off the back of a defeat, it kind of gives you the opportunity to get fresh legs, fresh impetus. And I was like, oh, actually, I don't know. I think it would be harsh to drop Murphy, because I don't think Murphy was one of the select few against Arsenal who were poor. I don't think he was. So it would be harsh, but then given Miggy, just throwing him on and going, like, come on, go and impress. And we know what Miggy brings, like energy and stuff, don't we? Like he will run Leeds ragged at the, he'll constantly press and press and press. And I think with Isaac up there as well, and potentially Gordon, that's one hell of a high press. It might be time to mix it up. I wouldn't be disappointed to see Murphy, but I would get if he started out. How's that?
Fair enough.
I think the fact that Miggy's not come straight back in says a lot about potentially how maybe thinks of Miggy right now. I'm going to put something out there. You might not like it.
Squad game 3 territory here.
I think there's a chance Miggy could leave in the summer.
We said this, didn't we? If
We
you
say this every summer.
Miggy is at the peak of his powers, and well, he was a few weeks ago anyway. You know what I mean? Like all the goals he scores. If you're going to cash in, now is the time. Because if he stays for another year, Miggy's not going to have the season that he's had this season, and Miggy's value will just go.
Yeah, I think they're going to want to cash in on one or two players in the summer. I think it could be the last time we see Jamal Lascelles in a Newcastle shirt. He's confirmed he's out for the season now. He could potentially move on. I think we will get a right-sided centre back in. I think the points that you just made, Chris, are absolutely spot on. Forget the contract. He signed a new contract. Great. For me, that just boosts his value.
Yep.
I think he could maybe go to Spain, somewhere in Spain, who are willing to pay 25 to 30 million for him. And if they pay 25 to 30 million at 29 years old, I don't think Newcastle can turn that down. I just don't. I don't. Then we might not get You're right. Look. I'm not saying that he's definitely going. It could well be that no one puts that sort of money on the table and he stays. But Newcastle will look to sell. Okay, Alan St-Maximin will be part of that conversation. There is no doubt about it. But it wouldn't surprise me if we change up with a couple of new wingers. All depends
what do you think on that, Pete? What would you say on that? What figure? What figure? I'll ask Daz first. Daz, what figure gets Miggy out of Newcastle? What figure would they accept?
That's why we need Notts Forest to stay up, and they will pay 45 million for Miggy. There we go. Still Forest. No, I suppose realistically though, that figure like 25-30 million for a 29-year-old. Like that's what we bought him for. It was around close to 25 million. So yeah. And he goes our blessing as well. We'd wish him the best. Good servant first. If that happens.
As we just said, Jimmy Watt, you're all right. He signed a new deal, but it doesn't mean anything. It could be that deal could be just to strengthen his value. For me, 25 million, and we would seriously consider it. 30 million, and we'd be saying, I think we need to take that money to Miggy. I think we would. For me,
I think it could be. Oh, sorry, mate. My thing's lagging a touch. I was going to say, I think it could be as low as 20 million. Let's not forget, I'm pretty sure, didn't we sign Miggy for 16, rising to 20? If we could recoup
21.
that money back, or 21, we could recoup that money back for the 29-year-olds and then go and bring in a youngster, not saying it will be Moussa Diaby, but someone of that ilk, a youngster, for, say, 30, 40 million. You're replenishing the squad, aren't you? And you're getting rid of a 29-year-old who sadly is only going to, as I say, I think he's at the peak of his powers. This is the best version of Miggy Almiron you're going to see.
To play devil's advocate, Chris, your favourite, Champions League, fighting on four fronts. He's going to get games. There's going to be rotation. I would, if we got that 30 million, I'd sell him. So.
Yeah. And it's down to that. It's not that we're saying we're going to actively look to sell Miggy Almiron. No. But if something presents itself in the summer, I genuinely think that they would consider it. Just like nobody thought that Shelby was going to leave, but something presented itself, and they went, actually, That's not a bad deal. We get wages off the bill. We get money for him. We don't know how much it was, rumored to be around 10 million. We get money in the coffers that we can build on next season. We paid 40 million for Gordon. If we get 10 million back for Shelby, it's effectively we're paying 30 million for Gordon. All these things kind of play in their minds, and they have to look at FFP. Yes, they spent 40 million on Gordon, but if they've got 10 million plus back, not even considering the Wood money, then you've effectively, you've halved the amount that you've actually paid for him. And then, as Derek said, you're putting it into a replacement. But it might well not happen for the reasons that Chris also said. He made great points. You both did. We're fighting on, I think it might be, I can't remember who said it. We're fighting, sorry guys, we're fighting on four fronts, and you need players like that. And of course, you do. So it's one of those.
The thing is, Pete, we're going to do an in-depth show. It could be a 5-hour show on Squad Game 3 where we go, the price is right. And I have the poster ready for that. So as soon as we know where we are, what if we land Champions League football, we might even go early before the end of the season on that one, because we want to go through our squad, who we're keeping, who we're sending to the who we want for the Champions League, who we would listen to offers for, who we want to get rid of, and who we want to have a squad player. And we want to put values in each of those players as well. That if offers did come in, what we'd actually realistically let them go for, and we'll have the debate. Always fun, that one. So tune in for that when it happens.
Definitely.
Just to jump in very. Oh, sorry, Pete. It's my internet. I think it's a bit jumpy. Sorry. Do you know what? I was going to bring this up as a joke, because I was going to say I don't think he will come back with 2 feet, but just to add into that little bit that you were mentioning before, Pete, is that playing into the fact of why Eddie Howe is keeping Murphy on? We spoke about it, didn't we? About the fact that Murphy whips the balls in with that right peg. It offers a new dimension to the team. Is that what's keeping Miggy out the team at the minute? Because we do look far more inverted when Miggy's on the right, because he constantly cuts in on his left foot, as we all know.
Absolutely right. It adds a natural balance to the team. You don't want two inside forwards, especially if neither of them actually ever cross the ball. And it adds a little bit of balance to the team. It adds a little bit of something different that defenders have to think about. So you're absolutely right. I agree. Hold on a second. Look, I tell you what. Let's flip it around. Actually, Paul Gallup made a point earlier on in the show. I think it was a conversation we had earlier, but he said he asked earlier, we get 111 million for third place, a nice kitty for the summer, and that's
just for the placement. That's not TV money. That's just for the placement.
Yeah. Well.
So
and just on that. Paulie G was the only person that at the start of the season that I ever heard of saying that we're going to get top four. I have to admit, I thought he was mad when I heard that, and I think he put a bet on it for I'm going to donate the money to the food bank as well on top of that. But so well done if it comes through, and hopefully it does come true, Paul. So Paul was the first person. I'm on the second with the music, so I'm equally as mad as Paul. So if that's the case.
Yeah, definitely. A few more. One for you, Chris. Last game of the season against Chelsea. The last game of Lampard's managerial career.
Maybe I can see why Jonathan's saying that. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think Lampard will be back. I don't think it'll be in the Premier League. I think it'll be. In fact, I think it'll be abroad. I think he'll get a job abroad. And then maybe rebuild his career, a bit like what Steve McClavin did. Because he went to Twente, didn't he, in Holland, got his reputation back up. So because Lampard's a big enough name to do that. He won't just disappear into football history. I think he can go and get a job elsewhere. But unless he goes to the lower league, he might have to wait until someone abroad wants him, I think.
Great. There's some really, really good questions popping up, not popping up that we're getting to now in this list that I'm working through. So Leon's put 2 or 3 crackers in. He's put thoughts on the idea that we'll be better off upgrading a number 8 position over a number 6 position, with Bruno being so capable in that position in order to get more elite players around him. Agree with that, boys?
Great question.
What do we think? Better off upgrading the 8 position over the 6.
Yeah, but we remember Bruno in his interview as well with Sky before a game once that he would seems to rather want to play in that kind of number 8 position. He's kind of indicating that for a while. I think he will play forevermore in number 6 position if he's asked to do that. But if he has a choice, he'd play the number 8 position. And it depends. The conversations are going in the background as well, I'm sure, and Bruno and Eddie Howe. And at the moment, he's got no choice. We've got no one else to play there, so he has to play there. But if they bring in that more defensive midfielder, it might release him further up the pitch, and want to keep him happy anyway.
Yeah, I think Daz makes a good point. Very quickly, I would prefer a 6, but in an ideal world, I'd like a 6 and an 8, because I think we probably do need a 6 and an 8 in order to, because we need squad depth, especially if we're going into Europe, which we know we are. We're going to need a 6 and an 8 because Bruno wants to play in the 8, as Daz says. I think Bruno's better suited to playing in the 8. Pete, you've spoken about this a lot recently, in that Bruno, he can do a job as a 6, but he's not that ball breaker, that person who puts out fires. That's not Bruno's game. And if we had a proper number 6 who basically said to the 2 lads in front of him, you push on, I've got this. I'll sort this out. You go and do what you do. I think you'd see a massive difference in how we play.
Yeah. A 6'4", athletics, fast, good tackling, Kefren Turam would be a great addition to the Newcastle United midfield, that's for sure. I'm just going to throw it up quickly because I think one of you boys starred it. Tambatoon again.
He's off again.
Third time tonight. $10. Thank you so much. And you put, all right, Lonely Football Daz. The info should have forwarded to your Gmail account. So Daz will be on that for sure. No doubt.
Yes, I've got it. I've got an email. I will share it out with the lads, and we'll see what's in there.
Cheers, thank you, mate.
Thanks very much.
And interesting, Derek put on here just above that, third place got 133 million last year.
Wow.
Hey, keep it coming, even more.
So it should be more this year, you'd think. Should be.
Definitely. Okay, next one. We'll move through these as quickly as possible. The Golden God said, can we now all agree that starting both Wilson and Isak is not a good idea? Everyone thought it was. What do you think? BDB. Game on. I'll go back to that.
20 minutes to go.
Who's at home in that one?
Real, I think. It's great. It's a great goal. Great goal for City.
Yeah.
Look, when Pete Grace was on, I didn't think it was the way to go.
What a goal.
And Arsenal probably wasn't the best game to try that out. Okay, it was something that had to be tried sometime. I wouldn't go for that again at Leeds. I'd go back to tried and tested, and I'd start with Isak, have Wilson on the bench, and unleash him then, if needs be, earlier than the second half or 60 minutes or whatever the case may be. If we're a few up, hopefully we are. But he's a good option then to bring off the bench, and it has suited him in the last little while, coming off the bench and going for it then. So I'd put it back in my pocket again for another while. That idea of the 2 up front.
Do you know what, Daz? I agree with what you're saying. Like, for me, I don't think it's not a good idea. I just think that, I actually believe that Eddie Howe made the right decision starting the 2 of them because it was Arsenal and because it was at home. I can see why he's done it. Do I want him to do it against Leeds? No, because I don't think it suits the game. We spoke in length about it, didn't we? And said that, the problem with starting the 2 of them is you don't have that impact off the bench. And for the Leeds game, I think it's important for us to have that option because they're a totally different entity than Arsenal. I think starting Alexander Isak, which is what I believe he'll do, I think that will be enough to get us over the line. And if it's not, Callum Wilson coming on most certainly will be. I think that's our best opportunity of getting 3 points at Ellen Road. So I don't think it's a terrible idea, and I wouldn't say don't do it again. But I get why you did it, and yes, it didn't pay off. But let's not forget, Golden God. If we'd have put some of them chances away, we could be talking about 3 points that we got and a penalty.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it would have been a masterstroke.
Yeah. Everyone, you're right. Everyone talked about it a little bit differently. That's why, regardless of how you look at it from an Arsenal Newcastle perspective, we're unlucky and we go again. It's as simple as that. Just what Richard said with regards to last time we won away was Everton to 2021 when we won 2-0. We talked about that one a little bit earlier. Interesting from Leon. Eddie Howe said we're an elite team. Do you agree? Why or why not? If not, what do we need to get there? Interesting. Another question. So in your opinion, so are we an elite team? If not, what do we need to be an elite team?
For me, to be an elite team, you're playing in the Champions League and you're doing well in the Champions League. You're qualifying out of the group stage. Then you're an elite team. I think we're on the road to that. We need to I suppose get rid of some of the dead wood, and I mean that in a good way, if we can say that in a good way. Like we need to spruce things up a bit, and maybe even move some of our current squad into the coaching side of things, like Dummett, like Richie, players that have value and they're adding to the ethos of the whole the team and squad, but we need players that can make a difference, that can slot in, and when we're competing on all four fronts. So to be that elite team, we have a bit of work to do, and we're ahead of schedule in getting there. We need at least, I'm going to say something like 6 players in the transfer window, and to build us out into next season. And I don't think then we're an elite team. We're on the path to it.
Chris, would you agree with what that says?
I mean, if Eddie Howe says we're an elite team, who am I to argue? Do you know what I mean? Like, Eddie Howe's not that kind of guy, is he? And really, if you look at the league table and you look at the performances over the past, 35 games, give or take a couple that we will not include because we didn't like them, you would argue that, you could understand why people would consider us to be an elite team. I think a lot of people probably would say we wouldn't, but I do agree with what, I'm going to get my fingers right, I do agree with what Daz says in that we've still got some way to go, to really be considered really up there, so I do get it.
Jonathan said,
yeah,
Spurs, they will consider us, would consider us elite team. That's fair.
Would Real Madrid consider us an elite team? Would Man City consider us an elite team?
Well, I think Man City might, because we saw what Pep Guardiola was like when they were winning 1-0 at the Etihad, and then they scored the second when it was all us. Isak and St. Maximin come on, it was all us. And when they scored the second to make it 2-0, Pep Guardiola was sprinting up the farm, buzzing, because he knew the game was in the balance. And if we're competing with the likes of Man City,
it all depends on the word elite. What's your definition? Because if you're saying elite is here, we're there now. We don't have much more to do, and we're going to do the same every year, and we're going to do really well in the Champions League. Then that's elite. But if you think there's still a bit to go here, there's a project and a number of years to get us there, then that's where I could put elite. Yeah. Well, again, I'm not arguing with Eddie Howe.
Craig's loaded. Arsenal were always going to try and keep the ball. When we got it, we had to use it well. Isak does that, stretches defence and open spaces. So that's a fair point with regards to that's what elite players do. Johnson's put Premier Elite, yes. Euro Elite, no. And I think that feeds into a little bit what Daz says. Absolutely
Yeah.
spot on with that. Another one from Leon before we get to kind of the last stretches of the questions. With all of the teams with lots of money and the teams that have had bad seasons, how competitive do you think the league will be next year? Will anyone or two challenge / push City? Interesting. What are your thoughts?
That's a
I'll
really
jump in,
good
Chris.
question.
Um,
Yeah, go on, Daz. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, it's going to be more competitive. Like Chelsea have to come back into the mix next season. Liverpool won't start as badly as they did last season, and then if they're out of the Champions League as well, hopefully they are. Then they've got to focus on the league. I don't think they'll care so much about the Europa League. But I suppose it's a pathway into the Champions League as well. It will be competitive. I think with us as well, we're going to be stretched. Like even if we didn't qualify for the Champions League, which we will, like European competition is going to stretch us because it's new to us as well. Like and there's the domestic cups on top of that, you know. So I mentioned 6 players that we could probably do with 12 players to be able to cope. So Rome wasn't built in a day. We have to keep building season on season, transfer window after transfer window to get there, to make us elite.
Chris, do you want to jump in on that one?
I think Man United are going to push Man City a lot next season because I think Man United are going to go out and they're probably going to attempt to get like an Osimhen or something. And Man United with a proper number 9 up front are a different entity, maybe even Kane. They if they have a proper number 9 up front and they've got Rashford on one wing, they've got Sancho, Antony, whoever, I think they'll look different. Casemiro with a full Premier League season under his belt, Bruno Fernandes. I think Man United are going to be quite a big threat next season. And no doubt Ten Hag will probably look to sort the centre of defence out as well. So I think Man United will push them closest. I hope we're up in the conversation. I believe Chelsea are going to be better. Whoever comes in to manage them, it looks like Pochettino, but we don't know. Chelsea are going to be another one to consider. And I actually think I think Tottenham are just going to fall away. It wouldn't surprise me next season if Tottenham do a Chelsea and they finish like 10th or something. I think Tottenham are going to fall away.
I agree.
Villa might improve as well.
Villa, good shout, mate.
You know,
good shout.
Yeah, they're going to be ones to watch.
They're building nicely. They really are. Prizes for who can guess which Hilton Chris is in. Is he in the Hilton? There's another Chris question from Jimmy.
Here we go.
I don't like Jimmy questions. I don't like them.
His room comes with a call girl. Get Chris a Hilton for God's sake. Oh, brilliant stuff.
I'm in a Hilton, Jimmy. I am in a Hilton. Hang on.
It's time to get more. The card.
It's time to, no. It's time to get more. Jimmy, you're going to love that. Yeah, I'll make the most of every stay.
Considering Jimmy's question, and then that's what you put up on screen.
I know.
Daz, I think we're in front of the t-shirt.
Every time, Chris, you've never failed to let us down.
I just need to just not say anything, don't I? I just shouldn't say anything.
Foxy's put it's a point, not a question. Leicester defensively wide open, no protection with Samari and Tillemans. They look gone. Think Leeds go 2 without Sinisteri or Sinisteria. Well, I can't pronounce his name.
Just on it, that Sinister. He's been a big miss for Leeds, but just to add in as well, boys, which we didn't mention before about Leeds, that Somerville looks pretty handy.
He only ever really comes off the bench though. He's more of an
and then he doesn't get started, does he? No.
But yeah, he's done all right for them. To be fair, he's had a decent season for them. Definitely. Okay, we're coming towards the end of the questions. This is a point, not a question. It's taken Arteta almost 4 years to get Arsenal Champions League, yet how did it in 18 months? Great point, Jordan 2 for life. Question from Craig Lee. Why is every winger we want, bar Diaby, left-sided? Almiron is our only left-footed winger, yet Barnes, Rafinha are mentioned, plus Joe Linton, Willock, ASM Gordon, and Isak all play left. Is there something in that? Is it that we are looking to potentially replace the right-hand side, or is it just coincidence?
Why is every winger people want bar Diaby left side? Well, in actual fact, I could be wrong, Craig, and tell me if I am wrong, mate. I think Rafinha is a right-sided. I think he cuts in. Reminds me a little bit of Mahrez. And do you know what? Pete, we spoke about this, didn't we? Rafinha is probably the closest thing to Mahrez at this moment. And if we got Rafinha, I think he is left-footed, but he does play on the right and he cuts in on his left. I just think he'd be brilliant. He'd be brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, but Barnes is left.
I take his point. Everyone else is left. I take his point. Yeah.
Barnes is left-sided, but Rafinha is not. You're right. He is right-sided. Diaby right-sided too. Diaby can do both. To be fair, and you know what? Rafinha can do both.
Yeah, he probably can. Yeah.
But interesting one there. Interesting observation with regards to that one. Question for Tom Dixon: would you take anyone for the Championship? Anyone that's impressed you that you would maybe take a punt on or not?
I used to really pay attention to the Championship because we were never too far away from it. Or secretly pick up someone that, because Mike Ashley would pay for a Championship player, but not. So that's why. But now I don't pay as much attention to it. To tell you the truth. There's surely someone from Burnley.
That Ashley Barnes at Burnley looks all right, doesn't he? I think he used to play with a lad called Chris Wood.
A winger. I can't think of their names. I was watching Burnley at the start of the season, but no.
Yeah, do you know what, Daz? You're absolutely right on that. Normally, I'm quite switched on with the Championship players, but I think now because we're just like we're so fucking brilliant, I don't even look at the lower league. I'm just like it doesn't even enter. Do you know what? I will name one player, and only because he's local. My eldest lad Lucas, he went to school with a young lad called Jake Garrett, and he's a young lad who plays for Blackburn, and he's always on the bench, makes the odd appearance, and he's only 19 years old. So shout out to Jake Garrett there, but maybe someone like him. I mean, John Dahl Thomason, he's the manager at Blackburn, and he seems to always have him in the squad, so he must have something about him.
Weren't we linked? Blackburn.
Yeah, that guy Adam something there.
Adam Wharton. Yes. Adam Wharton, who's apparently Dan Ashworth has personally gone to watch him play a couple of times. Ooh. He scored yesterday against Millwall. I think he scored their first goal. I'm just looking back. He did. He scored their first goal. Defensive midfielder. They actually I saw the article and they kind of dub him a little bit like the next sort of Michael Carrick in terms of the way he controls and plays the game. I haven't seen too much of him. I've got to be honest, but I watched a little bit of the game yesterday just on my phone whilst we're watching the other games, and he did look a tidy player. I think he's only young. I think he's like 19, 20. I think he's only a really young lad, but that could potentially be one of those young signings that come in that does a job in the summer.
There's another one that has been mentioned as well, Alex Scott. I don't mean the.
I was just about to say the lad from Bristol City. Yeah, the lad from Bristol City. Yeah.
He's captain under 18, England under 18, under 19, under 20s. He's played 81, scored 5. He's only 19, so someone they're looking at as well, I think.
Definitely. Burton Diaz is already leaving. I think he's already signed a deal with someone in Spain.
Villarreal. Yeah.
So he's already gone, so he's definitely not one to look out for. How have we only got 62 likes? Come on, people. We need to be at least over 100 before the show ends. Everyone, click the like button right this second. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I've seen some new people in the chat. Mama Flossie was another one. She's subscribed tonight. Come and join us along with Mama Flossie and join the Loaded family and be a part of it all. Come on, you know what's good for you. Right, last couple of questions. Really quickly. Firmino from Liverpool on a free.
We talked about this one before. Is there talk of Barcelona looking at him?
They always look for free transfers because they can't afford anyone. That's why.
Yeah.
I think I said no at the time.
Yeah, we're too intense for Firmino. I think not saying he's not a good player, but I think he's had his best days, and I think he probably needs to go to a slower league.
No, fair play. Should and would ASM take a similar role to Wilson? Start 1 out of 2 or 3 and get 30 minutes as a sub. It could help his fitness, but would he be happy with that role? Interesting.
So one ASM can only answer, I think.
Be an interesting one. I think if we get Champions League, I think he'd want to give it one more season. I don't think he'd want to leave. But if an offer comes in, he might not get the choice.
Yeah.
Interesting. And look, last football, that was the last of the football-related comments. The last one was, can we have a Chris outtake show?
No.
You can. They're all there on YouTube. If you want to go back and take the clips, they're there, Jonathan. Work away.
Don't encourage anybody to do that.
And they have the questions.
Thanks very much for the questions, and thanks, Pete, for walking us through them. Always quality questions in the chat. We eventually did get them after an hour and 20 minutes. I want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors before we end the show and forget. Shout out to theradiatorshed.com and Russ and his radiators. Actually, I must check in on Russ as we put Pete in jail. Here are the lovely radiators that Russ has on offer. And if you want to contact Russ on at the Radiator Shed, tell him you heard about it on Loaded, and he will give you a discount. There's Russ. And here, if you want to get them installed, Russ, another company, the install works, will sort you out on that front, and then he'll arrive in that loaded van. Also, a big shout out to the Bathroom Design Co. H2O Bathroom Design Co. The Northeast's largest supplier of Velcro and bathroomware. Team Valley, Gateshead. Over 20 years established, ran by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. And hey, you never know, there might be a loaded discount there as well. So check in with Russ and Martin on that one as well. They will sort you out if you're interested in those lovely bathrooms. That is it for our sponsors. Coming up on Loaded Mag and UFC, we have away days on Thursday night.
We do. Joe from Just Joe Football Show is back, ready to talk all things Leeds United. Chris, I think you were on with us last time. Really, really good guest.
Yes.
Really knowledgeable guy. And yeah, he's really looking forward to coming on again. So we're going to have a great chat with him on Thursday, see how confident he is with regards to Leeds. He's also on the 12th man as well, so I'm in the chat with him, and it's interesting listening and seeing his reactions to Leeds scores, because he's either on top of the world sending voice notes and videos, or he's like, I hate football. Football is the worst thing in the world. So I want to get, obviously we want to get his thoughts on Sam Allardyce and the result on Saturday. So yeah, we'll be talking all things that as well. And there might be another show. I've not talked to you boys about it, but it looks like we've got another show lined up potentially. So yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about it now or whether we can wait and announce it properly.
I don't know. Up to you. We don't know what it is, so
I'll talk to you boys afterwards. But there'll be another show coming potentially at the weekend. But yeah, there's another show that we've got lined up. Yeah, so keep an eye out on that one.
Cool. Then we're playing on Saturday, so it's Saturday evening. We have the reaction show. So let's hope this time it's all with smiling faces, and we're celebrating that one victory away from getting us one step closer to Champions League football, and moving up that little tower there, higher up that ranking, and of course, taking into consideration all the other fixtures as well. So yeah, tune in for that one on Saturday night. That is it, I think, lads. Thanks a million for joining me, and thanks to everyone in the chat for coming along as well. Guess there's only one thing left to say. How'd you like that?
How you like?